Okay. Um, go live with. I am inviting my dear goddess friend, Joy from Black Lady of Leisure live here. This is the
Hello.
She was like, "You were here, but I couldn't see you, but you were here." Oh, you're here.
I am here.
We're getting so fast at this.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? When I was watching you, your screen was really clear. As soon as I joined, it went pixelated. So I wonder if it's something on my end with the internet. Like we can't have both of us.
Can't handle both of
Yeah,
us.
you can't handle it. And as long as you can see me
um,
clearly,
yeah, I
you can
can.
hear me okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All systems go. Monday at
Woohoo!
noon. Woohoo! And you've got your earrings on. We're both sporting our earrings. Love
Exactly.
it.
I was just thinking, hopefully it doesn't affect the sound for me. I know sometimes mine make a lot of
Yeah,
noise.
yeah. Mine too, but yeah.
We're good
I'll
so
let you
far.
know. You sound clear.
Cool.
Okay, so this is our second session, I guess, our second conversation in the series,
Yeah.
would you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is all about creativity and motherhood, and we're kind of just creating stuff
Hmm.
as we go. And
As you
I
do.
want to tell, as you do, the best stuff, and as you do in creativity and motherhood.
Yes.
And I really want to tell the story of how we came to this session today.
Yeah.
So, last week you sent me an email, and you're like, this is what I think we should talk about next time, like the pleasure and the fun and creativity, and we're so dead to you. Oh my God, um, you're back. I said to you, I'm
Yeah.
so not there right now. This is so fun. I love that you're juiced
Hmm.
up about it. I'm totally not. So you can be boss lady, and I will just ask you questions and I will learn from you. And then, a day or two passed, and then you sent me an email back and you're like, I'm not fucking juiced up anymore. I didn't
Exactly.
even remember what the session was. Like, so,
Total
and this is how
opposite.
it goes,
Opposite.
right? A total opposite. So now
Exactly.
both of us are coming into this conversation like feeling a little stuck, struggling a little bit to find the
Hmm.
fun, to find the play, to find the juice. And it happens. And
Yes.
that's part of like what this life is. So then we just decided that what we'll do is we'll just start from where we are. We'll tell the story. We'll start from where we are and see if we can figure some shit out, basically, to help ourselves and also anybody else.
Exactly. And I want to add too that I feel like it really can go from moment to moment. Like it could be a long
Yeah.
phase, a couple of days, a week. And then for me, I also find within a day, I can cycle from like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. And like, I'm so tired and nothing's feeling juicy. And then maybe a couple hours later, it's switched and I'm back kind of in my flow. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So we have these momentary stuck. I think when we start to panic is when the stuck lasts a certain amount of time. I know that's true for me,
Yeah.
right?
And I also feel like sorry, someone's about to open the door. If I,
Okay.
if I hold on to that feeling and I get all really tight in it and sort of wrapped up in my head around it, then again, it's more likely to stay. So the day where I said to you, I can't even remember what the topic suggestion was. I'm not feeling juiced up anymore. Um, I was like, I just need to kind of get into bed and cry. And when I did that,
Yeah.
for me, that was like a big release and it helped to get things moving again.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Um, so not getting in our heads too much about it. And
Yeah.
also not,
Yeah.
I think there's such a sense of shame. Like anytime we get off of track, right? Anytime we're not productive, we're not fucking crushing it, we're not building momentum, we're not taking massive action.
Yeah.
we can have all of that, that sense of failure, the sense of shame, that really cements the stuckness, right? Like we can get into our heads
Yes.
about
Yeah.
it, and then like you said, we stay there. So I love that you said, finding a way just to release the stuckness and not get in the head too much,
Yep.
and just like move through it, right?
Yeah. And I think I'd also add to that, like just an appreciation or an acknowledgement of what we're feeling at that moment. So I love this line that I use sometimes, which is, I am feeling X, whatever the feeling is, and that's the right way to feel. So I'm feeling sad, and that's the right way to feel. I'm feeling overwhelmed, and that's the right way to feel. I'm feeling angry.
Mm,
Because to your point, it kind of takes away the shame. And it's an
yeah,
acknowledgement of like, this is what's happening right now. It's okay. We're gonna like work with this, and then we can kind of move
yeah,
forward whenever we're feeling ready.
yeah, yeah. And it's also about that approval, right,
Yes.
Joy? It's
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
approve of where I am,
Yeah.
which is so great. Sometimes
So
all we
beautifully
need
said.
is approval, and then we can just move on. Like we just want
Totally.
someone to say, "Yes, you're okay. You're right to feel the way that you are feeling." And you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, good. That's all I needed to know."
Yeah.
Like I don't need a lot. I just need to know that it's okay, that I'm right in how I'm feeling, and then I can move on.
Yeah. And I feel like going back to our story and how this all started, when you said, "Yeah, I'm not feeling that way at all. I'm not feeling like I want to talk about fun or pleasure or
Yeah.
delight." I was like, "Okay, great. That is perfect." And we both said that is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Which is another reason why sisterhood and community is so important. Like to all the stuff, to be the one person that's on fire when another woman is like, fuck
Yes.
everything, I want to burn it all down. And you're like, you know what? Love it. Yes, I see you. I
Yes.
hear
Yeah.
you. I've been there. I might be there tomorrow. Let take some of my juice if you want. And if you don't want, that's all good.
Yeah.
And, we just like navigating the times when we're up and we're down with each other, and having that be perfectly fine, knowing that we will be in all places at some point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think there's, again, I used this word last week, something radical and revolutionary about that, because just because
Mm,
someone is up doesn't mean that you failed, or it doesn't mean that they're better than you. That sort of feeling of
yeah.
comparison that we can have.
Yeah.
True sisterhood and support is like, wow, she's up, take me where you're going, or she's down, oh my God, that's awesome. Just feel all those
Yeah.
feelings wherever you are.
Yeah. And I think a skill that I have learned, is to see a woman as being bigger than any one story. She's bigger than any one moment.
Yeah.
So like when she is in the shit, she is not of the shit. She is not shit. She's just in the shit.
I love that.
And when she is bright and shiny, she is in that moment of the story. And it is not like the moods do not define her. The storyline does not define her. She is beyond, like, greater than all of that. And so being able to like be
Yeah.
cool with ourselves and other women and be like, this is just a flavor right now. This is not me. This is not the whole story. This is not all of me. This is
I
just a
love that.
flavor in this moment right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
I
with
and
you.
I think that's a skill, right? It's a skill to learn how to view. I think for me, it's been a practice how to view other women in that way, and also to view myself in that way, to just give this huge, generous latitude about what is allowed.
Mm. Yep. And so if we were to take that back to the idea of filling well, as I call it, like replenishing our creative juices, like caring for ourselves so that we're able to produce whatever we want to produce creatively. Um, and I've forgotten what the first part of my sentence was. How would
If we were
you?
to take, yeah,
No, go ahead.
I no, you're right on.
Yeah.
You're right on. Yeah.
I guess, how would you do that in those moments where you're not feeling as juiced up? Like what would be a strategy that you'd use to go from not feeling very good right now to just more open and excited and feeling the fun and the
Yeah.
pleasure?
Yeah, let me just refer to my my rule book and
Yeah.
I'll look that up for you. Yeah, like this is the practice. So I'll tell you what I'm thinking about right now for myself.
Yeah.
So I I think we've talked about this before, how fun. There's certain things that are just in real scarce supply right now, like fun,
Mm-hmm.
like anticipation, things
Mm.
to look forward to feels just like there's not a lot of that around. Um, and so I have been feeling about fun, which feels really creative for me. Fun is in short supply. So in my Facebook group this week, I just was like, I have to do something fun. So in my Facebook group, I'm going to have a fun challenge, and every day is going to have just a really short challenge, like something that you can do under
Love it.
10 minutes to have fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so for me, what's cool about that is I if I make it with somebody else, in this occasion with my Facebook group, I then become committed. Like I it's really a way of me for me to reach out for help to find my juice again. Because
Yes.
when I feel like I actually can't, like I just can't fucking do this on my own. So that is one thing that I am doing, reaching out. And it's about like, yeah, I have to do this with other people because I just need the strength also and the enthusiasm of other people.
Yes. Love it.
So yeah, so that's one thing. So tell me one thing that you're thinking about of how to like move through or into something new.
Well, so it's interesting because when you mentioned like I have to pull out my rule book, I thought about the idea of having a list of things. So in the past, and
Mm,
actually just a few days ago, I actually wrote down a list of things that I like to do. And
yeah.
and I like writing lists, but it's not because I love checking things off, but it's because sometimes we forget. Like, I'm like, what
Yes.
do I like? Like, you get into those moments where every day
Yeah.
feels kind of the same, especially right now with COVID and we're all kind of at home. And there's not, like you say, there's not a lot of things to look forward to. There's not a lot of places to go. So I just wrote down a list. I wrote down a list like, what are the things
Mm,
that would make me feel good, that bring me joy? I wrote down really simple stuff like dancing. Like if I can
yeah.
dance just a little bit every day. And in fact, that's
Yeah.
a really quick way for me to go from not feeling great to just feeling 100% better. Even
Yeah. Yeah.
especially and most importantly when I don't feel like it. So sometimes I think I don't really want to dance right now. And if someone puts this in the house or if I put one on, I'm there. Like my body is responding before my head gets in the way. Um,
Love it.
Other things that I love are like really good food, or I put down like wanting to watch a funny movie just so I could laugh.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Love it.
yeah, so I think writing things down, and then sometimes I've taken it a step further, and I will actually like write it into my calendar because I do think that
Mm,
it's so easy to when something isn't written down and like blocked off, like a little block of time, it's so easy to get lost in the day, lost in like all the millions of things there are to do, especially as moms
yeah.
when you've got other people you're taking care of or other things that jump out maybe that you weren't even expecting.
Yeah.
So if I have it scheduled, then that really helps as well.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, like it's so easy to forget because when you're in the stuck, you're like,
Yeah.
I actually hate everything. Nothing is good. I
Exactly.
don't like anything. Nothing brings me pleasure, right? Like you literally cannot act. It's like there is nothing that is
Yeah.
good, and it's so easy. So I love what you said about like
I think
reminded.
there's, oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
say that one more time, Sophie, because it cut on my end. I was just saying it cut for me, so you have to repeat.
Yeah, I think just it's how easy it is to forget,
Yes.
which leads me to yes, writing it down, and also again, sisterhood. Because I
So
might be in the
yes.
shit and then you're like,
Yeah.
Sophie, remember you like to dance. And I'm like, no, I hate dancing and I hate all music. And you're like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Here's an awesome song that I have. And then I'm like, fine. And then I listen to it and it's awesome. And I remember, right? I
Exactly.
remember.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
even just being inspired by another woman's pleasure and joy. So I've had
Yeah.
people send me texts and say like, this is what I'm doing right now. And I'm like, ooh, someone sent me one. It was like, I made popcorn at home. Something about making your own popcorn. I don't know. I'm like, that sounds really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just other ways that women are enjoying themselves can be an inspiration to me too. So I like that
Yeah.
doesn't
So
happen alone.
I love that. Yeah, that doesn't happen alone. And I was thinking, it'd be fun. You could set up a little, you could set up
A
a
group.
fun partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I'm just fucking stuck as shit right now. So can we just every day let's just text each other. Tell me what anytime you do something fun, just text me and tell me about it.
Yeah.
And and then I get to enjoy it, and then maybe it inspires me in another way, but at least I know somebody else is having fun. You get to share your juice with me, which makes it juicier for you.
Yes.
I get to just feel great that somebody else is having a great time. So I love that. Yeah.
And can I jump on that? So
Yeah.
I think I really embrace this idea of my pleasure being important and my fun being just as important as the work I'm doing, and then being able to do that with other women. There would be times, and I'm thinking like years ago, where I'd see a woman having a lot of fun, a friend, someone I knew, friend of a friend, and I would feel envious and maybe even jealous,
Yeah.
like, oh, look at her, she's doing whatever it is that she's doing. And
Yeah.
now I've come to understand that that's like a little gateway for me. If I see someone and I'm starting to
Mm,
feel a bit like, oh, then I actually realize, well, maybe that's because I want whatever she's doing.
right.
Whether it's, fabulous set of earrings or she is dancing in her living room, but she's doing it naked. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that my like envy can be like a gateway to what it is I really want.
Yes. And we were talking about practices before, I do think there is a practice behind, and it sounds so weird to say, and I think it's just because of messages that we receive about being together in sisterhood. There
Mm-hmm.
is a practice about how to be that is different. So, for example, I think old story is that you see another woman having a good time or being proud of herself or feeling confident, and the what feels like the default choice is envy, jealousy, wanting to find something about her to like bring her down a little bit. And that's just like
Mm-hmm.
learned bullshit. That is not who we are. That is learned bullshit.
Exactly.
And then I love how you said like actually you're making a different choice. You're like, no, how could this, like how could the sharing of this sister affect me in a different way? I'm going to actually let it be a spotlight for my desires. Like that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to turn it into, a gift. And I love that you said
Yeah.
that, because we do have choices, right? We can see somebody else's beautiful, bright, shiny moment as something, as a gift that allows us to feel a little bit more shiny when we're in the shit, and not be something that I guess keeps us there through the envy and the jealousy. So I love that. Um,
Yes.
what was,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was also thinking, oh, I can't remember. You said something a while ago that the scheduling, and I love the
Mm.
idea of scheduling stuff. So a little tip that I will pass on is what I do every single day. Even if I'm not going to pick up my kids, I know that they're going to be home at 3:30.
Yep.
I know that the energy of the house changes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there are too many words, too many requests, noise.
Yes.
There is like the energy of
Yes.
the house changes, right? So what
Yeah.
I have to
I'm
do
with
to
you.
get to kind of, yeah, yeah, to get my nervous system ready is about an hour before that time is like I stop working. I stop doing everything. And that for
Mm.
me is a time when I can put in my pleasure or my fun, because I actually want to, it's like I have to prepare. I really do have to prepare my patience, my
Yes.
generosity, my different timing, where my attention needs to go. I'm like bracing for impact, but in a healthy, pleasurable way.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
And yeah, and that can be my regular pleasure fun time, even if it's just having a bubble bath.
Yes.
But it's exactly what you said, scheduling it in, because when I don't schedule it in, I end up working up until 3:10, and then I either have to go and pick them up or they come home and I am fucked because I haven't done what I need to do in order to be present for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point. I know I've definitely felt like I get a lot more impatient and more irritated when I don't give myself that transition time. And I think there was
Yeah.
a question we had last week, which was how do you transition from that period you have on your own or wherever you might be, where you're producing or creating, to then
Yeah.
moving over to motherhood. And I think we're kind of answering the question now, like being able to have an in-between time to yourself
Yeah.
seems really important.
Yeah. And I think too, it's so easy to, when our creativity is our work,
Yeah.
there can be moments when it is not pleasurable anymore, right? It's like, for me, so I love to move and I use movement in a lot of my work.
Mm-hmm.
For me to move from a work perspective, which is like, I'm actually not really moving my body for enjoyment. I'm moving it to, how would I break down this move? How does this feel? Like I've got my work hat on.
Yeah.
So in fact, the movement is not pleasurable anymore. It can feel like pushing sometimes. So I also think for me, it's really important, like say in that hour break, or any creative who is having to do that transition, it's like, is there something that you can do in your creativity that is not work related? So you're doing
Mm-hmm.
your art, but you're not thinking about work. So what that looks like for me is I just move for my own pleasure. I'm
Yeah.
trying to like turn my brain off that wants to analyze, that wants to understand, that wants to ask questions, that wants to be like, how would I put this into curriculum? All that bullshit, which is great and I
Mm-hmm.
love it, but it cannot be the only way that I spend time in that creativity. So I think that can also be a really good transition, is like, how do I be in my art, but remove the work for it, for this moment, for this small space of time.
Yes. And I think the phrase that stands out the most to me in what you just said is for my own pleasure. I think it's really
Yeah.
important that whatever you're doing in that time, so that 1 hour of transition time has to feel pleasurable and has to feel good. And
Yeah.
I think for me, that was where I started when I came up with this topic for this week, was the importance of feeling good, the importance of enjoying whatever it is you like to enjoy, the fun, the delight, the fun, the enchantment, the wonder, because I think those are all the things that nourish our creativity. And when
Yeah.
we allow ourselves to like push forward and move on without it, that idea of like the well runs dry, and then our creativity is more likely to dry up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
I just,
also
yeah.
really like the idea of that for my own pleasure experience being a sensual one. And I don't necessarily mean sexual, although
Mm.
it definitely could be, but sensual is in like thinking about like smells and taste and touch and
Mm.
sight, and what are the things that kind of like bring that alive. So for you, if it's like movement, I mean, that is an intersection of so many different um, senses.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had a flash of what it's like for me to work,
Yeah.
like the pushing part of work where like shit has to get done. Or does it? Like that's a whole other conversation. Um, but so working right up to 3:10, doing my
Mm-hmm.
good work, and then going to pick up the kids, and I'm just like bitter and fucking crunchy and crusty, and like I hate them. I hate them. I
Yes.
resent them. It's not a good scenario for anybody. And
Yeah.
then having stopped at 2:30, having the discipline to stop at 2:30, which for me might mean I set an alarm on my phone. because I need to have help to keep that. And then I just move for an hour. Like, and I'm not thinking, I'm not trying to turn it into a class. I'm not trying to do anything with it. And then the kids come home. I am in like
Yeah.
100% better space.
Better place. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you do that every
And
day.
I try. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
only human, Joy.
Yeah.
I'm
Not
only,
super mom. Super Sophie.
yeah, I'm superhuman.
Yeah.
Superhuman. Okay. And then, you know what? When you were talking, I was also thinking about, and I had a conversation today with somebody about the way that uh, creative women in business need to redefine how we do business and how what
Mm,
success means, because the old story of pushing every day, of going to the
yeah.
max, of crushing it, of continual productivity, I think there
Yeah.
still is, no, I know there still is a very, it's like this, it's like it is presented as the only way to succeed in business,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to keep up the momentum and you're consistent and
Mm-hmm.
you are continually productive. And I I think we really need to challenge that idea,
Yeah.
because what's happening is it burns people out. It actually kills creativity, and I would say it also affects women in a much different way than it does for men.
Mm-hmm.
Without getting into a big conversation of masculine versus feminine, it feels like a skin that fits much better on men than it does on women. Like we need more
Yeah.
variety. We need the ebb and the flow. We need the like on fire and the retreat. Um,
Yeah.
so one of the struggles that we have experienced, and also other creative moms have experienced, is this idea of, as soon as you want to make shit happen, you have to be consistent,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. I struggle with
Consistently
that.
productive.
Yeah.
It's a huge one,
Yeah.
because as soon as the creative art, the love becomes the push, it's really shitty. It
Mm-hmm.
feels really shitty.
I know for me, I had a real sort of aha moment when I started to understand that my productivity um, could follow my cycle. And the idea that, like, at certain times of the month, I am very much like full of energy, want to be very visible, I have a lot to say, or I'm communicating better. And then there's other phases where I really just want to retreat. And it's not only sort of energetically with the people I'm with, but also in my work. Like, I don't have as much juice.
Yeah,
And I think that is something that once I started to embrace, like, oh, at this phase of my cycle, I'm likely to feel like this and I can do this kind of work. At this phase of my cycle, I might just want to like do some really like easy admin-y, researchy type stuff. That really changed a lot for me and helped me kind of get out of that, like, go, 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 every day has to be on, straight A's, all
yeah,
that,
yeah,
like that's the way I was
yeah,
raised,
right.
was to just push through everything. So it's been a huge unlearning, and it's like a daily unlearning. Like that conditioning that I think
Yes.
we have, it's so strong. And going back to what you said at
Yeah,
the very beginning, when we were talking about when we're not feeling, alive and glowing and juicy, is not feeling bad about it. Like not feeling bad
yeah,
that this day is not my like on day. Being able to
yeah.
accept it and approve of myself. Yeah.
You made me think that you
I'm
should
gonna check the
teach.
time.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so say you take a course in like how to do Instagram, right? Or like how to
Mm-hmm.
be visible on Facebook. One of the
Yeah.
things that I hear all the time is you have to be consistent, right? So
Yes.
you are posting once a day at 10 o'clock, and consistency is super key. What I want, Joy, is for you to do a course on like, this is
Mm-hmm.
how you do it around your cycle. Okay.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you know your cycle, and you're like, for these 7 days, I'm just going to feed my creative fire and I'm going to come out with some shit and people are going to hear me and they're going to see me and they're going to like taste me in their mouth. I'm just going to go for it. And then, and then I'm going to disappear for 21 days, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, and it's
Silence.
going to be cool. And there's going to be fucking dead silence. There's going to be dead silence. And then I'm going to come back. I mean, and this is what we're
Yeah.
talking about, which is just such a huge conversation. Like also how do, and it goes even beyond motherhood, right? Like how do
Mm-hmm.
creative people, how do women design their creativity or their business around just who they fucking really are and how they
I
truly
was gonna
feel?
say,
And
yeah.
right, like just totally
Yeah.
switch this bullshit about every day is supposed to look the same and we're also and it's supposed to be like this relentless unrealistic, which is what happens, Joy.
Yeah.
People, and I know both of us have experienced it. It's like you ramp up, you got great momentum, yay yay yay, burnout, drop. You ramp up, you have
Mm-hmm.
make burnout, drop.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a question you've just asked, how do we design our creative careers, our businesses in a way that truly works for us and represents who we are? I mean, I feel like that's it, isn't it?
Ah, it's so
That's the
it.
that's the stuff.
That is the stuff. And I think
Yeah.
one thing that has come up during COVID is like there is no, we've really, I think we knew it before, but we've really realized that we are whole people.
Mm-hmm.
There is no separation between work and family,
Yeah.
personal and impersonal, like internal.
Yes.
Everything is so interconnected. And our,
Yep.
the way that we do business has to be whole, right? It has to look
Mm-hmm.
at the whole person, the whole community, the whole world. Like it's just such a like an incredibly exciting mind fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I was just talking to
Yeah.
someone the other day. I have an accountability partner for my business work. And we were talking about how when I try to give my updates just about the business stuff, it inevitably includes all of the personal things as well, because they're
Yeah.
not separate, like you say. You know, what happened the
Yeah.
day before with
Yeah.
my kids might be affecting how I'm doing XYZ thing for my business the next day. So um,
Yeah.
it's a great topic. Maybe one for next week.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And you just made me think of, in a business mastermind, what happens a lot of the time is people celebrate business successes.
Mm-hmm.
Like what were your wins this week, right? And I'm thinking, no, what are all the wins? Like people have to be seen in their wholeness.
Yeah.
What were the wins at work? What were the wins in your relationships? What were your personal wins? What were your wins with your kids? What were your wins with your community? Like that, we have to be whole
Yeah.
people now, right? We can't just be,
Yep.
anyway, that's a whole other thing,
It's
Joy.
a whole series on itself.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are
Um,
we are officially at time for this week.
okay.
Hmm.
Loved our conversation. Feel like
Me too.
we could just go on for hours and hours. Before we go,
Yes.
will you share with us one thing fun or pleasurable or creative that you're planning on doing today?
Oh, okay. So this weekend has been really long. I sent a text to you saying it's long and I'm tired. So after this, I want to get into bed and just watch a movie. Really
Ah,
good to me.
I love it. Okay. What kind of movie are you going to
Yes.
watch? What's the genre? What's the genre today?
I don't know. I think I'm a sucker for like comedies, so I'll probably try and find something funny.
Okay.
Unless I find a movie that
Okay.
I've always wanted to see that I don't know, it takes me a while to choose films, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
I so love that.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, I want to steal that one. Um, I think I want to move and I'm
Yeah.
going to and I'm going to find somebody else's playlist, which is really
Oh,
fun for
nice.
me. So I don't even have to do my own playlist.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have a hot bubble bath
I
because
like
that is
that.
just like my number one. It's my number one. Ow! Jessica,
Like someone said.
Netflix and snuggle. Woohoo! I love it. Um,
So good to
yeah,
talk to you.
and
Oh, go ahead.
so
Were you gonna say
good,
something?
Joy. Yeah, no, I was gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
to Rada, thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We love being part of like a community where we get to talk about stuff and we're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It all happens in sisterhood, right?
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Love you, Joy.
Love you too, Sophie. Till next time.
Until next time.
Yes.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.